Hello, everyone. I'm Annika Viswesh. I'm a senior at Palo Alto High School, a rising 12th grader. And today I am going to talk about my journey through science, basically, how science has played a significant role in my personal life, and my journey in STEM research through middle and high school, and my love for promoting STEM in my community and across the globe. One question I want to just make sure is my screen sharing? Awesome, it is sharing. Let's go ahead then. I first wanted to talk about my earliest memory of science, and that was when I was around 4 years old. And I recalled learning about the science of vision. At the age of 1, I was diagnosed with amblyopia, a vision disorder, and other vision disorders such as vertical strabismus. Amblyopia can lead to permanent vision loss if not treated. So I spent a considerable amount of time in the pediatric ophthalmologist's office because my treatment had to be closely monitored. I loved touching the ophthalmoscope, one of the instruments the doctor used to examine my eyes, and my doctor even allowed me to shine the light on her eye. I had to patch my eye every day for 3 to 6 hours to improve my vision. I did not like it because it was uncomfortable and I could not do many physical activities when I wore the patch. I recalled when I was 4, I asked my doctor why I had to wear a patch when my friends did not, and she told me, "Let me tell you about the science behind it." The only thing I understood at the time was that my brain had to do something with my eye, but the word science stuck with me. As I grew older and my vision improved considerably, due to patching, I actually understood the science behind it. You must be wondering, what is amblyopia? Before I explain that, first, let's understand how we see things. The process of seeing things needs the eyes to work together with the brain. When light reflects off objects, it passes through the cornea and through the lens. The cornea and the lens bend the light to focus on the retina, which is in the back of the eye. Photoreceptors on the retina convert the light into electrical impulses. These signals pass along the optic nerves to the brain. The brain then processes the signals from each eye and combines them to create the 3D image, which is what we see. What happens when one eye cannot see properly, especially in early childhood? During childhood, some eye problems can blur vision in one eye. Say someone had a childhood cataract in one eye, which blurs the vision in that eye. You see how the right image is a clear image, whereas the left image is hazy or blurry. So even after wearing corrective lenses or glasses, that left image is still blurry. The affected eye sends blurry images to the brain, while the normal eye sends clear images. The brain is unable to combine these images to construct a 3D image, so it decides to ignore the signals from the eye, sending the blurry images, and only uses the images from the normal eye to create the images we see. Over time, the brain and the affected eye stop communicating with each other, and the pathways through which the communication takes place shuts down. The affected eye no longer communicates with the brain and becomes lazy. This is amblyopia. If this condition is not treated before adulthood, it can lead to permanent vision loss. It can also cause a loss of depth perception, as it is not easy for the brain to perceive depth by processing only one image. How does patching treat amblyopia? Amblyopia is treated by forcing the brain to use blurry images by occluding or obstructing the vision in the normal eye. A patch is worn over the normal eye every day for 2 to 6 hours. This forces and trains the brain to use images sent by the blurry eye. This way, the pathways connecting the brain and the eye continue to function, which is the goal of the treatment. The underlying vision disorder, which causes the blurry image, such as cataract, can most of the times be treated, thereby improving the visual acuity in the blurry eye while strengthening the pathways by amblyopia treatment so that the eye can send these images to the brain. Typically, the treatment might last from 6 months to 2 years. In rare cases, it can extend for many years. I underwent treatment for about 9 to 10 years. How many people are affected by amblyopia? According to the Journal of Ophthalmology, 99 million people in 2019 had amblyopia worldwide, and it's predicted to increase to 220 million by 2040. My patching continued until I was 11 years old. Meanwhile, as I went through elementary school, I tried many different things in science and art. I loved baking. I liked mixing the ingredients, adding the yeast, and seeing the dough rising. I liked planting vegetables. Here I am planting tomatoes with my father. I saw that the plants wilted when I did not water them, and they needed food just as we do to survive. I loved learning about insects as well. I was fascinated to learn about the great migration of the monarch butterflies, and I wondered how they knew where to migrate to. I also got my first taste of programming in the 3rd grade. My teacher, Mrs. Gariba, introduced us to Tinker, a visual programming platform, and I created a bird flying over a salt marsh, and I learned about the coastal ecosystem by creating this particular animation. The biggest learnings for me through my elementary school experiences were to be curious and explore everything. All the explorations that I did in elementary school can be done at home or school using things that you can find around you. And as always, keep trying new things. I did my first serious science research project in my 6th grade for my school's science fair. Since I enjoyed planting vegetables, I decided to investigate if plants could grow more when they are given carbonated water instead of regular water. I could do this experiment at home. I grew radish plants for 2 months and observed their growth, feeding one group of plants with regular water and another set of plants with carbonated water. Although I could not conclusively prove my hypothesis, I learned quite a lot about the scientific process. I learned how to conduct a scientific experiment, about control groups, independent variables, dependent variables, interpreting results, drawing conclusions, writing a scientific paper, and preparing a poster board. I liked it very much because I was learning new things about the world around us, and so I wanted to continue doing scientific research. It was around my 6th grade that I had stopped patching completely. My vision was at the best acuity that could be achieved. I still had some laziness, but it could not be corrected further. During my last visit, when the doctor asked my parents about their lengthy experience with patching, my parents said they wished it were more efficient because the patching duration would change after doctor visits, and there seemed to be no easy way to track the treatment at home every day. There are 2 problems with amblyopia treatment. Medical professionals lack treatment data to guide them on patch duration for each patient based on how the patient was responding. Caregivers lacked easy-to-follow prescriptive guidelines. So I decided to research into how I could help solve this problem. In my 7th grade, I worked for 8 months to create a simple smartphone application to record patch times, visual acuity history, contacts, appointments, and in addition, this app would share the entire dataset with medical professionals electronically. Secondly, I built a wearable to automatically track patch times by programming an Arduino microcontroller and uploading all that data to the app. Finally, I created a lot of test data, loaded the test data on an Excel spreadsheet, and used the inbuilt function of multiple regression analysis. This predicted the optimal patching duration based on how the vision changed with different patching times. Here are some of the screenshots from the app, and also here's a picture of the microcontroller that I programmed and attached to the patch. I presented my research at several science fairs, including the finals of the Broadcom Masters competition in America. I also presented it to my doctors at Stanford, and they gave me great feedback, so I worked more on it to improve it. However, due to medical regulations or HIPAA in the USA, I could not test it out on real patients. Nevertheless, it was a life-changing experience for me. In my middle school, I also got the opportunity to teach for the first time. I coached younger students in my school's math club in 7th grade and prepared them for math competitions like the Math Olympiads for elementary and middle school. It also helped me solidify my understanding of various principles in math. My enthusiasm for teaching math crossed into other disciplines such as coding. In 8th grade, I volunteered at an organization called Math and Coding to teach middle school students the basics of Python programming. I taught at many public libraries in my city and in neighboring cities. Here are my learnings from my experiences in middle school. Again, be curious and explore everything. I never thought that I could program a microcontroller or create a smartphone app. Again, most of these explorations can be done at home or school using things that you can find around you. Try doing a science project from start to finish. Go to a science fair. See what other students are doing. If possible, participate in a science fair. It is a very rewarding experience seeing both the judges who are experts in their field talk to you about what they do and listen to about your project, and also getting to meet so many other students with the same passion as you, and when you come home, you feel super inspired to start a new project in that same field. Do some experiments about the things that you are curious about. Even if your outcome of your experiments is not what you expect, you will learn something new and interesting along the way. I have pursued science research throughout my high school. In my 9th grade, in 2018, I performed independent research on predicting cancer from DNA methylation profiles using machine learning and presented it at science fairs and conferences. The purpose of my project was to apply different machine learning algorithms on the DNA methylation profiles of cancerous cells. And this would help pinpoint a particular kind of cancer from a set of possible cancers such as acute myeloid leukemia, sarcoma, skin cutaneous melanoma, etc. And these are different types of cancers based in different types of cells they originate in. And the classification algorithms used were logistic regression, decision trees, Gaussian knife bayes, support vector machines, and random forest. In early 2019, I reached out to a few professors in the field of biochemistry and microbiology whose work I found interesting. One of the professors, Dr. Sill, from the University of San Francisco, or UCSF, responded to me, and after an interview, she offered me an unpaid summer lab internship. In the summer of 2019, I pursued research on translational efficiency of the fungi Histoplasma capsulatum under the guidance of Dr. Voorhees at the Sill Lab at UCSF. This was my first experience of physically working in a lab, and I loved it. I loved going to the lab every day, working on my research, participating in lab meetings, and learning about the research of other scientists who worked in the lab. At the end of my internship, I presented my project to the lab. I still had work to do, so I worked on it during my school year. I also presented my project at science fairs and research symposiums. The histoplasmosis disease is caused by the dimorphic switch of the Histoplasma capsulatum fungi. The histoplasma fungi also causes the rare disease known as ocular histoplasmosis. This disease damages the retina and can lead to permanent vision loss in humans if not treated. My research helped to identify a set of sequence elements in the 5' UTR region of 4,981 genes common to 4 strains of Histoplasma capsulatum fungi, and by doing this, I hope to predict its translational efficiency. In late 2019, I reached out to Dr. Wakatsuki at Stanford University because I found his work on structural biology and ophthalmology very intriguing. He interviewed me at his lab in early 2020 and offered me an unpaid research lab internship for the summer of 2020. It was supposed to be an on-site internship, but due to COVID-19, we had to do it remotely. I greatly enjoyed my experience at the Wakatsuki lab as I was working on the SARS-CoV-2 virus. I continued working in his lab throughout my 11th grade. I investigated the interaction between NSP15 on SARS-CoV-2 and human RNF41, an E3 ubiquitin ligase, using computational techniques such as homology modeling, docking, computational algorithms, and molecular dynamics simulations. We discovered that if SARS-CoV-2 can bind to the RNF41 C-terminal domain, it could possibly inhibit RNF41 from regulating the immune signaling pathways. This research was partially funded by the U.S. Department of Energy's National Virtual Biotechnology Laboratory. I presented my work in conferences and in science fairs. In March of 2021, I applied to the Simmons Summer Science Research Program, which is a free summer science program for rising 12th grade students in America. I was one of the 40, around 750 students selected to attend the program. As a Simmons Science Fellow, I'm currently researching the conformational changes of another SARS-CoV-2 protein, the spike protein, under the mentorship of Dr. Simmerling at Stony Brook University in New York. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, this program is remote for this year. I thought that I would share with you some of the different research programs that one can apply to as a high school student in America, such as SSRP, RSI, etc. This list is in no way complete, as there are many more programs geared towards research. You'll have to check the website of these programs for their eligibility, cost, and scholarships. Some of these programs are also open to international students as well. For example, RSI, one of the most competitive programs in America and internationally, is open to international students, and so is SIP, the Science Internship Program. You can take a screenshot of this and use it to help you broaden your interest in scientific research. As I participated in math competitions, especially in science fairs in my middle school. I noticed a low representation of students from various walks of society, and I wanted to understand the reasons behind it. So I started reading articles about diversity in STEM. I realized that people from underrepresented communities, people of color, and people who have disabilities are poorly represented in STEM based careers. Lack of resources, lack of opportunities, lack of role models in their communities, and awareness in general were cited as some of the possible reasons. The papers I read further indicated that such students lose interest in STEM subjects in the 6th, 7th, or 8th grades. So I created Jobs of Tomorrow in 2018. The mission of this organization is to encourage underrepresented students to consider careers in STEM and see themselves as future leaders in these fields. The organization conducts professionally led career talks, workshops, hands-on activities, games, and tours to inspire the students. So, why is diversity important? Diversity in the sciences will bring unique perspectives and create different solution approaches to scientific problems. In the longer run, it will also alleviate poverty by opening new avenues for employment and help the economy and the health of poorer communities. After planning for many months, I presented my plan to the principal of a low-income school in my neighboring city and received permission to run JOT as an after-school program. Here are some pictures from our run in a school in East Palo Alto. Schools absolutely love this program, and so did the students. Many students realized that STEM can be fun, and they wanted to learn more. Soon, I was able to expand this program to another city in Mountain View. And this school was Crittenden Middle School. When we went into COVID-related lockdowns in March 2020, I decided to go online so as to continue running the program. This turned out to be a great opportunity to spread the mission of JOT across the globe, as 3 miles or 3,000 miles away feel the same on Zoom. I contacted several organizations in 8 different countries across the world and ran the program in many places. Since the program was online, the presenters could also be virtual. And so I decided to reach out to other professionals in different parts of America and internationally, such as in India, who could present and inspire these students. The first international series began in Zimbabwe. I connected with Mr. Chikundi of the Purpose Lab, who loved the program and wanted me to bring it to Zimbabwe. I designed the program for Zimbabwean students who had access to only WhatsApp. Over 10 weeks, 10 professionals from different states, such as New York, North Carolina, Arizona, and California, chatted with students about various STEM topics, such as space exploration, biotechnology, chemical engineering, molecular biology, and virology. Although these students did not have access to high-speed internet, they were still able to learn about interesting STEM careers from professionals and get motivated. Running the program in Haiti was another unique experience because the 28 students were not only from an extremely dangerous and poor neighborhood, but the program had to be run in French Creole. Every presentation was translated into French Creole. Our first presenter was a woman engineer, and these students had never met a woman engineer before, and after her presentation, the girls and boys were truly inspired. Also, these students attended a meeting just after a big hurricane to hear from Dr. Marcin, a Haitian native. I learned just how much it mattered to them to be able to hear from people that they could personally identify with. In August 2020, the program ran in India as a 2.5-hour-long seminar, which was live streamed to over 1,400 students. Jobs of Tomorrow has also partnered with the Africa Science Buskers Festival in August 2020 to bring 5 speakers to the event. I also presented a workshop in AI in healthcare, and I'm returning back to the festival this year, and I'm really excited to be here again. In 2020, JOT also ran remotely in Ghana, New York, and the UK with the Voices of the Mount Foundation. My teacher in my school invited me to partner with her. Currently, I am partnering with my local school district, PAUSD, to bring JOT into the work experience program at my local high school. The program is also currently running for refugees in Turkey, Iran, and Afghanistan. It's being translated into Persian. I'm looking for students to help with Jobs of Tomorrow and help motivate many more underrepresented students across the world. How can you help with Jobs of Tomorrow? You can host local events, create educational content for our website, such as physics, chemistry, and biology tutorials, write blog articles about STEM content, and help us with creating workshops if necessary. If you're interested in joining our team, please email us at jobsoftomorrow2@gmail.com, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, JOT Jobs of Tomorrow. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to partner with African Science Buskers in 2021. Thank you to everyone who joined me today and listened to my presentation. And thank you, Mr. Knowledge, for organizing the Africa Science Buskers Festival again in 2021. I'm open to taking any questions, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll see if we have any questions. So the first question is, what kind of mindset have you instilled in yourself so that amblyopia can make you more interested in science? I think it was more the fact that science was one of the things that I could do at the moment. And so it was like, when I was in elementary school, I really wanted to just do something and not just sit on the couch and sleep. So science just provided that way for me to stay active and stay curious and learn about so many different things. And it really helped that my parents were super encouraging me and super encouraging. What do you like about science so that you can learn it? I think it's the fact that there's so many endless possibilities in science and that we just haven't truly discovered everything that is to exist. And it's a field where you never stop learning. And I love just seeing and learning about new concepts and just exploring the world around me. There's so much to explore. So just why not go for it? Thank you so much, everyone, once again, for all your encouraging comments. I can take one more question. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Well, thank you, everyone, once again, then for attending this presentation. And it was really a pleasure to speak to you guys about my journey through science. Once again, thank you, everyone, and I hope you feel inspired by day 2 of the Africa Science Buskers Festival 2021. I wish you the best of luck in your scientific pursuits. Thank you, everyone, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.